Welcome back everyone to another round of Le Mans Ultimate here at Lightning Speed Racing. It is go time again, and it feels like just yesterday we crowned the driver, one of the drivers who will soon be on your screens as champion. This man right here, Mikhail Frokov, in a different BMW than last time, but yes, believe it or not, we are already kicking off Season 2 in style. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Sebring International Raceway once again, but this time, school is back in session. The spring break has ended, so we are here at the school circuit. So, just to tell you guys a little bit about the school circuit, it is 2 miles around even, or 3.219 kilometers around, 7 corners around this very tight track, kind of similar to a reverse Monza. And yes, Nico Perez, you are correct. There is more than 9 cars on the overlay, because during the very small off season we had, I fixed it. So now you will see more than just the top 9 cars. You'll be able to see the top 20 overall, and we can also split it. I'll go ahead and run through the overlay fixes that I have found momentarily. But just to talk a little bit more about this track, so even on a high fuel run through my kind of mediocre testing that I did with a scuff controller, which granted controllers and wheels, they do handle quite significantly differently, but a sub 1 minute time is going to be the norm here. It is actually a 30-minute qualifying session this time out, because there were some delays we had, so we added an extra 10 minutes onto the qualifying session, which will kind of also serve as practice. So it'll be 30 minutes of qualifying followed by the race here today, and it's going to be a fun one here at Sebring. It's a very tight track, very tricky. The hypercars are going to be able to do a sub 1 minute even on a full fuel load. The time I set was right at a minute, but also I scuffed a lap a bit. So, and these drivers are ridiculously talented, and I mean especially this driver currently on your screen. But another new change for this season, which some of you might have noticed, some of the drivers are labeled with like an orange color and others are labeled with red. That is because we have GT3s this time around. So we have Philip Smolka, who last week in our season finale was the sole point scoring driver of the Van Wall group, is now in a BMW for a GT3. A few other drivers have made the switch, including the one who was in chat earlier, Nico Perez. He has also switched over to GT3. Andre Ferreira has also switched to GT3. So a lot of drivers here have switched to that GT3 car. We still have a good amount of hypercars though, so it'll be 2 separate championships. And for the sake of qualifying, which we will go ahead and split to here very, very soon, we're going to go ahead and split it to where we see the top 5 for both GT3 and hypercar. So the point system did get a slight revision since the last time. So there's a bit of a difference. Not too much of a difference. We are now allowing half points. And then also there is a slightly different scoring for round 1, which is the 100 minutes of Sebring. No, round 1 is in this race. This is the Prolouge, so pretty much a preseason race, if you will, just like our preseason in Portimao last time out. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We will be on the full circuit once we get to, and yeah, we actually have both Peugeots on track, which is pretty neat. But yeah, we'll be switching to the full layout of Sebring for the 100 minutes of Sebring round 1. Unfortunately, I won't be around, so there will be a new commentator and streamer coming in. Not sure which one that is yet, but we will find out, because I will be heading to Formula E in Miami. But then I'll be back for round number 3, which, I mean, the calendar for the season is a certified banger. I am so excited for it. And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, because Season 2 is going to be intense. If Season 1 was the season of learning, getting to grips with everything, Season 2 is where everything really kicks off. And I hope we have a really competitive championship here. So as we get closer to that 20-minute mark, I will go ahead and begin switching up the overlays just a bit. And Alex Afonso has also made a swap to the Peugeot. He was in the Lamborghini last season. Had some pretty good results, but now he's trying to go. Oh, and that's a spin there from one of the Porsches in the background. Oh, I'm not sure which Porsche that is, but that was a spin from one of the Porsches in the background. And if you guys may have heard the Discord notification, we have a new co-commentator joining us. Let's go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name's Brad. Happy to be here. Happy to join along for this.
Hang on. Yeah, let me turn you up real quick, because you were pretty quiet on my end.
No problem.
Actually, you might just need to increase your mic volume. But yes, we have a new co-commentator with us today. It is his first time joining, well, first time commentating, so we're glad that you have chosen LSR to go ahead and make your debut. So what do you know about Sebring?
Actually, not a whole lot. This is my first time seeing this track.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a quick refresher. We aren't on the full layout of Sebring. Sebring is actually not too far from where I'm at. Actually, where we're at. We're both in Orlando. So, fellow Orlando native. Sebring is about an hour and a half away, roughly, from where we are. I mean, it used to be part of an old Air Force base, so that's pretty cool. I mean, but it does lead to this track being incredibly bumpy, incredibly tricky to navigate, and especially on Sunset Bend, which is the last corner of this track, turn 7. Yeah, it can really unsettle some cars. And some cars like this track more than others, but it is a very bumpy track nevertheless.
Looks like it'll be an interesting track to see them navigate around.
Indeed. Now we're going to go ahead and switch up the UI a bit. We're going to go ahead and change it to our multi-class layout, which should be refreshing there as we see a bit of a interesting problem here. There's a Porsche that was spun around. That is Aslan Tehacho. If you are in chat, please correct me, because names are not my strong suit apparently. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Glad you're here with me. So we actually have some other new drivers. I'll go ahead and run through them. Well, this driver isn't new. Formula Jonah has switched from the Porsche Penske machine to the Alpine, and it looks like he is just getting to grips with the French machine. But yeah. So how are you feeling about today's race?
I feel like it's going to be a fun one. I mean, I know there's cars all over the place, people in new positions. I mean, people still learning the track, as we can see here in the Alpine. So it looks like it'll be an interesting one.
Indeed, yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Glad you're here with me, because I mean, this series has provided a lot of excellent racing.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said this season should provide a lot of excellent racing. It provided a lot of excellent racing in our debut season here with this Le Mans Ultimate format, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let's see, who are we going to do an onboard lap with? There's still a yellow flag somewhere. I'm not sure what a yellow flag is at. The BMW, Mikhail Frokov, is shining the lights to Nico Perez to let him through. If you are in a GT3 car, you do have to give way to the hypercars behind you. Otherwise, you get hit with infringement penalties, which is not good. And then also, you have a very angry hypercar driver behind you. And we know those hypercars are ridiculously fast.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so we're going to go on board now with Dan Wilson, a driver who previously was in a Glickenhaus, I believe. So we're going to go on board with him and now in the Porsche. Unfortunately, we don't have any boutique manufacturers this time around. They are available, but I just don't think anyone is currently driving one. As we are on board now with Dan Wilson. He navigates turn 2. And I mean, turn 2 is going to be the hardest part of this track, because turn 2 usually goes into a sweeping left-hander. But unfortunately now, this time, it got a bit of a haircut on track. So turn 2 is really sharp.
They take turn 2 into the Bishop Bend. If I have that correct, I believe.
You do. Indeed. Alright, so actually, you know what I will do for you? I will go ahead and let you go on board with a Toyota of Marco Pavona. Actually, we'll wait till he starts his lap. Actually, you can take it from here because he is just now leaving the Bishop Bend.
Oh boy, so he's leaving the Bishop Bend, heading into, what is that, the Gedabine Bend, I believe? I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Oh. No, I still don't know it from the air view. Oh boy. What is he, just getting out of Le Mans curve going into the Ullman Straight here?
Indeed.
Then he's going to be coming up on the slight right-hander into Sunset Bend, which curves all the way around back to the start line.
And he's going to come across the line. And let's see
what coming across the line now.
What's his time going to be? Is it going to be an improvement? No, I don't think so. Not quite. He'll have plenty of time to go again. So let's actually go on board now with some GT3s. Let's get some GT3 action. We're going to be on board now with the BMW of Philip Smolka, and I'll let you take this one away as well.
He's currently holding the fastest time with ahead of, what is that, Bonalumi in the Porsche. He's going to be he's doing the right-handed to the Bishop Bend.
That is
he's going to be heading
Bend.
down towards the Gendamian Bend as well, which then they have to do the slight curve. Oh boy, I'm bad at this. I'm so bad.
It's alright. Hey, we all have to start somewhere, and I will help you out as best as I humanly can. So, alright, I'll go ahead and take over this lap. It looks like Philip Smolka is now going through the Bishop Bend, and now he is on his way to turn number 4.
Oh wow, I was way in the wrong spot, yeah.
And then now he is heading to the Le Mans curve, about to go on to the Ullman Straight. This is probably the best spot to overtake here on this track. It's a good run. There's a lot of good spots to overtake too, especially if you are a hypercar with lap traffic. He's going to go ahead and make the run down into the Sunset Bend. But, oh, he's pulling off a bit. So I think that's his lap done. I think there was a hypercar behind him. There was. Yep, it was another BMW. That is one of the hypercars. He is retired to the pits for now. We are down to about the last 13 minutes of qualifying. Let's see who we go on board with. We actually have another new driver as well, Jacob, in the number 311 Whelen Cadillac. It looks like he's got some damage, though, on the front of that Cadillac. So I wonder how that happened. Unfortunately, we don't have a replay, so I can't exactly tell how that happened, but we will see. We're going to go on board now with... Oh, who should we go on board with?
Is Perez out on track?
Not quite. Perez is not out on track. The Dutch driver in the Ferrari, who was in the Glickenhaus last season when we only had hypercar. Let's go on board with the let's go with the driver whose name I butchered earlier. Tahacho. I think I finally got that right. Tahacho now is getting a little bit of a slipstream there from Jacob, who is in the 311 Cadillac, and now we see the Le Mans themed Porsche Penske machine, the number 6, roaring down into the Sunset Bend. Philip has actually just parked his BMW there, the Valentino Rossi themed BMW. He's going to come across the line. We'll see if he can improve his time. He's got, oh, it's actually showing just the intervals. Is it going to be improvement? No, I don't think so, but
it does not appear to be.
Not an improvement at all. And on this next lap, Antoine Poncet, who's in the Ferrari this time. He was in the Toyota last season from the 2023 spec. And Lucas Nielsen, who was the other Glickenhaus last time out. And oh, yeah, indeed, there was a bit of a spin
the wrong
there.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but this track can really unsettle cars. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and do something. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and remove this for right now, but then we're going to go ahead and throw on the onboard driver hub. Although it's actually kind of broken, so we'll swap to this instead. Yeah, unfortunately, the Le Mans Ultimate overlay isn't perfect. It's better than what it was previously, but still not super great. It's not really an improvement, though, for Lucas Nielsen, though, is it?
I think he's kind of warming up for his run lap now.
All right. Actually, you can go ahead and take this one away.
Ooh. They're just going into turn 2 into the Bishop Bend, heading towards the Gandavine Bend. He's using what appears to be a slipstream. Oh, he's slowing him down. I don't know if it's his run lap. I don't know if it's... Oh, he got out of the way for him. All right. So hopefully Lucas Nilsson will be able to improve on this. I think there was a bit of getting stuck behind the car in front of him. He's going down the Ullman Straight now, where he's hopefully going to be able to pick up a bunch of speed. Oh no, he's warming his tires. I don't think that was a run lap.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it was either. He was getting impeded.
I don't think he would have kept the run lap being stuck behind the other car.
Yeah, I think it was getting impeded by that 311 Cadillac. He's going to go for another lap again, and I'll let you take this lap away as an official push lap.
Now that Lucas Nilsson is able to push on his lap without hopefully any more infringements from the cars in front, he's going to be heading into turn 1 and then instantly into turn 2. Holding a pretty good line there. Yeah, he's pushing those lines for sure. He's heading now down toward the Gandavine Bend. But he's holding real tight lines in that. He has a strong push here on the Ullman Straight, which then he'll be going into Sunset Bend, to where hopefully he will improve on his time. Currently holding the second fastest time. There's a yellow flag on track somewhere.
Yeah, not quite an improvement there for Lucas Nilsson. The superstar in the Glickenhaus last season, unfortunately, has not... he's been doing pretty good. It's going to be his highest qualifying time period in this series, although granted, he is in the championship winning car from last season in the BMW, as opposed to the Glickenhaus that he was in, although he put up some really good performances in that Glickenhaus. And I'm just going to go ahead and say hello to everyone here in chat. It is awesome to have you guys here. Make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe for every race that we have here. We also have F1, I think, happening later today, I think we're heading to... somebody who is part of the F1 division here could correct me, but I think we're heading to Jeddah as our next round, and Jeddah's honestly one of my favorite tracks. I hope we actually see it in the World Endurance Championship at some point, even though I know it would be chaos, but glad to see you guys in chat. We do Le Mans Ultimate every single week, starting at noon on Saturdays, and then I think F1 is usually shortly right after it. So yeah, 2 different racing games, 2 different racing series, and it's a whole lot of fun, so you definitely don't want to miss any of that. We have quite a few awesome races on the calendar here as we go down to the last 7.5 minutes roughly of qualifying, and then we go ahead and get started with our prologue. And just going to go ahead and pull up the calendar real quick. So round 1, or the de facto round 1 here, is the Sebring prologue, and then we have the 100 minutes of Sebring, so we're coming right back to Sebring. It went from being the penultimate round of last season to now the first round of this season. Then we're heading to Imola, which is replacing Monza for the season. And then we're heading back to Spa-Francorchamps for a 90-minute race. And then our famous 2.4 hours of Le Mans on May 3rd. And then we have 60 minutes of Coda, which is probably one of my favorite tracks on this calendar. And then 90 minutes of Interlagos, Portimao being upgraded from a preseason race last time out to now the penultimate round this time for a 60-minute race. And then once again, we will round out our season finale in Fuji once again. How do you feel about that calendar, Brad?
Sounds like it's going to be a bunch of fighting back and forth for these positions for them, because some of these tracks can be tricky, some of them can be straightforward, so...
Indeed. Well said. And I mean, there's so much chaos on Fuji and Sebring last time. For the last 2 times we had races there, Spa always was a cinematic classic.
Always.
As it always is, indeed. But I'm really excited to see how Interlagos and Coda go, because Coda is a really fun track. The Circuit of the Americas, home of the American Grand Prix for MotoGP, and also the Austin Grand Prix in Formula One. Sometimes it's called the American Grand Prix, but I think Miami actually took over the U.S. Grand Prix name, which is still kind of weird, but...
Did they? I didn't know that. I thought Texas still held on to the Race of Americas.
I think they did. I think Miami had United States Grand Prix last time out. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, even though I'm from Florida, born and raised in Florida, I mean, I still consider Texas to be like out of the 3 tracks we have on offer for U.S. for Formula One, I think Texas definitely deserves the moniker of...
deserves the title. It's stayed the longest, and it's one of the most iconic races for Formula One driver to be in. So.
Oh yeah, and also the endurance race that we had at the Circuit of the Americas in the real world was also pretty much a certified banger as always. All right, so we are down now to the last 5 minutes of qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be on board now with Michele Bonalumi. Last time we saw them in the Lamborghini hypercar, putting in some really good performances, especially towards the end of the season. But now they are currently in the Manthey Racing Porsche. So it'll be interesting to see how this field does. And I know you weren't here for the last season, Brad, so I'll go ahead and just let you know that we had only hypercars last time out. So only the endurance prototype hypercars. It kind of almost turned into like a Grand Prix, but now... Oh, there's a spin there!
What a big slide, bro.
That was a very big slide there from Michele Bonalumi. That's his run done. Luckily, this track is showing enough where you could get another outlap going. But yeah, so... Now, this season, for Season 2, we are introducing GT3s into the mix. And it's going to be even more intense because we didn't have massive attendance for the Prolouge, but every race after that, we had usually a pretty decent-sized grid.
Okay. Well, I can definitely see how this is going to be a big change from last season, because with it just being hypercars, you didn't have to worry about any vehicles impeding, and you didn't have to worry about any of the flags of allowing the hypercars to pass the GT cars, which can change their race completely. So yes, I can definitely see how this can be a very different season for them.
Indeed, yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's also going to be pretty challenging for the drivers, and Jerome Linderand is actually currently on pole position here in the Peugeot, which, I mean, we know Jerome had some really wicked pace, especially joining in around the second half of the season, although he was in the Hertz Jota Porsche last time, but now he has made the swap over to Peugeot, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these Peugeots do, because the Peugeots always had pace, but they could never capitalize on it. They had a lot of podium potential, but unfortunately just couldn't do it. And also I'm seeing from Bartley in chat.
I was about to say the same thing.
I believe that is actually Bradley Kennedy, who was a superstar driver from Porsche last time out. I think he's still in the Porsche, but he has to start from the pit lane due to a issue, which is unfortunate for the Proton Racing driver. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these cars have damage, which is pretty unfortunate, but I know this track is going to be very chaotic. Turn 1. I mean, at turn 2, if you're in the hypercar, you pretty much got to, because most times you can kind of get away with braking around the 150 meter mark to like maybe the 50 meter mark, but you got to brake at like the 200 on this track for turn 2. And with so many cars piling up, and even in the Discord earlier on, the champion from last season, Mikhail Frokov, said that turn 2 here is going to be worse than turn 1 Monza. So, but
yeah,
and from driving this track, I can see it.
I believe it. We're gonna have almost a Monaco, almost, not quite.
Oh God, imagine 24 hours of Monaco. Oh no.
No, that'd be terrible.
I tried that on Project Cars 3, and I tried to do like a 20-minute multi-class race. Yeah, I went back to the main menu after 5 minutes because that was awful. Do not try that again unless you really feel like torturing yourself.
Man, they're really scraping the wall close there at the end of the Bishop Bend.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pretty much nail it though, going through Sunset Bend, because if you go too wide, you're pretty much in the barriers, as I found out the hard way. There's a reason I stay behind the commentary desk.
Another spin there.
Indeed, yeah. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, then I switched it, but yeah, it looks like a lot of these drivers.
It was Frokov or Nilsson. I believe it was a BMW.
Yeah, that might have been. I'm not sure. I think that was Nielsen. It might have been Frokov, but yeah, I mean, Frokov, here's the thing about Frokov, though. And here's a really awesome statistic I do want to go ahead and point out. Frokov was the only driver last season to be on the podium in every single race last season, including the Prologue, which he won. Some other interesting statistics, although unfortunately he is not here, but Rovin Machete was also the only driver last season to win in 2 separate cars. He won in Bahrain in the Ferrari, and then he won at Le Mans in the BMW. So there's your 2 fun facts of the day. We'll see what new kind of...
able to master 2 vehicles like that.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive. Although I know the BMW is really solid. As we come down here to the last 10 seconds of qualifying, we're going to be on board now with our current pole sitter, Jerome Linderand. We'll see if he can go ahead and make anything stick. His car's bouncing around there on the rough concrete of Sunset Bend. He's going to go very wide. He's going to send it. Is it going to be an improvement? It is not going to be an improvement, I don't think, but I think he's got a good enough run because I think everybody else who was his main challenger is actually in the backfield. So let's go ahead. How many drivers? We have 17 drivers on track, so we can actually go ahead and do this. Switch this up. Let's take a quick second to refresh, and boom, there we go. Now that's our entire that is our entire grid. So running through our positions real quick, we have Jerome Linderand, who took pole position here for the hypercars, followed by Mikhail Frokov, Antoine Poncet, Aslan Tehacho. I'm going to probably stutter on that a lot. Lucas Nielsen, Alex Afonso, Marco Pavona, Dan Wilson, Jacob J.Z. Kuban, and Formula Jonah rounds out, actually Bradley Kennedy rounds out our hypercar qualifying. He will start from the back of the grid behind the GT3s. And speaking of the GT3s, Michelle Bonalumi takes pole position for Porsche, followed by Philip Smolka, Andre Ferreira, Nico Perez, William Stickley, and Jack Perry, rounding out our drivers here. So,
teams and drivers
all right.
to the grid for a race start.
All right. We're already going to be able to see the quick transition of the hypercars being behind the GTs, because all the GTs are going to have to get out of the way of the hypercar at the start of the race.
Oh, actually, I have just been corrected. He did not get a podium in Monza. Okay, I'll have to definitely go back and look at that. So my earlier statistic, or my statistic from earlier was actually wrong. So I apologize for that. I could have swore he got a podium in Monza. Maybe not. I'll have to look at that later, but thanks for the correction there, Safi. But yeah, so the other statistic is that Rovin did get a win in 2 separate cars. I know that statistic's true. But also, we'll see if we're going to see any new statistics come from this season. We have a lot of races, and it'll be 30 seconds until we get our micro formation lap. It's not a full-fledged formation lap. It's basically just enough to get a good rolling start. So we will go ahead and see how everything plays out. 30 seconds or 15 seconds now until we get on the grid and ready to start the season off. It is a prologue, so there will be no points on offer, but we'll see how everything is going to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the formation lap is going to begin. It'll be Jerome Linderand who's going to go ahead and lead us to green. They got to make their way through Sunset Bend first before we go ahead and get started. And this is going to be absolute chaos. The drivers will have to go about 60 kilometers an hour or 37 miles per hour going into this. Oh, looks like the two almost had a little bit of contact here going into the beginning of the Sunset Bend. But, I mean, getting damage on the formation lap is definitely not ideal. Now, I will say that Jerome is going to have the ideal line starting us off because it turns into the turn 1 and then the very tricky turn 2. So we're going to get ready for green flag and the season 2 of Le Mans Ultimate here at Lightning Speed Racing is about to go green as we wait for the official announcement.
Green flag.
There it is, and it's lights out, away we go. And Mikhail Frokov actually jumps into the lead there for the BMW.
He had a better lineup on him there.
Yep, and oh, look at that. That is really, really nice there from those drivers. Good stuff there. Antoine Ponce was actually looking for a move. He did get a move. He's going to try to get back past. We'll see if any moves are going to happen here through this field. No, it looks like Mikhail Frokov is the only one who's been able to jump up
I
in
think,
the order.
I think
Tahacho actually did too.
Sanchu- Yeah, I think he overtook Poncha in the Ferrari.
Indeed, you are correct. Good eye. But yeah, we have quite a few battles happening out here, and Philip Smolka actually is in the lead now of this GT3 category. He's going to let Formula Jonah through. He did overtake him at one of the corners, but as Jonah is in the Alpine, he's gonna have the right of way compared to Philip Smolka in that number 46 BMW. And it's BMW domination, at least in the early stages of this race, but we still have an hour left to go.
You say that, but then Nilsson was DQ'd, so he not even the pit start, he was fully disqualified.
I can already see that was a game issue. I will look in. Okay, so apparently it was an issue with him with not having any tires remaining. Apparently that was the issue for Lucas Nielsen, which is an unfortunate start. But luckily for him, there's no points on offer for today's race. It's all about bragging rights as we're going to go ahead and ride on board right now with Jerome Leninrad.
Oh, he's going.
Ooh, contact! There's massive contact there!
Oh!
That's massive contact there. Mikhail Frokov getting turned around there. And Aswan Tahacho is now in the lead of this race for Porsche. Now, Porsche didn't get any wins last season, to my knowledge. I'll have to go back and check my stats before the next race, but this would be a very good win because last season was mostly dominated by BMW. The occasional Ferrari win did kind of kick in, but yeah, I mean, Tahacho
for being at the right place at the right time to be able to get through the spin and the contact that the other two had. He was waiting for that moment for them to just push through, and they gave it to him.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, like you said it perfectly. You know, right place, right time for that Porsche, and now he's going to try to go off into the sunset. We're going to stay on this full grid because we only have 17 drivers, so we'll stick with having all 17 on screen instead of splitting it up. But yeah, right now it is Philip Smolka who is currently leading the pack in the GT3 category, and he's got a pretty decent gap, I might say, to the car behind. Yeah, he's got a good gap here. He's 9 seconds behind the hypercars.
Yeah, he's 1.2 seconds ahead of second.
Indeed, yeah. So
1.6. Yeah, he's gaining time on him pretty consistently too.
Yeah, Philip Smolka. I mean, he made magic happen last time out in Fuji. I mean, putting that van wall in places that really did not belong, including into the points. And so, looks like Jack Perry was thinking about making a move onto Michel Bonalumi. That BMW is going to go up the inside of turn 1. But Jack Perry is going to have the ideal line going into turn 2. Are we going to see a move from the outside? There was an attempt. He gets on the grass a little bit. A good amount of bumping and barging around there. And, oh, man, that was close.
He still holds on. He still holds on.
He keeps holding on. His dream will never die. Indeed, but okay, now actually
it gave the Aston Martin a chance to be in this fight too.
Yeah, so we're gonna actually slip back one and go on board with Andre Ferreira in that Heart of Racing Aston Martin. Gonna switch POVs here to try to get a good one. There we go. That's a perfect shot. He's trying to chase down Jack Perry in that BMW. Gonna go ahead and switch some things up onto the UI real quick. So there we go. Although it's unfortunately a little bugged with the driver UI where the brake and throttle is off screen. I have tried to adjust it. I'll probably try to play with it more off stream, but I spent a few hours the other day trying to get to work, and I think that's just unfortunately an issue with that overlay. But anyways, he's got a really good front row seat to this battle up here between the BMW and the Porsche.
Oh, he overtook him this time.
And Jack Perry, like you said, got the move done onto Michel Bonalumi. And now he is up into P2, and now he's off to chase off after Philip. It's good slipstream now coming into the Sunset Bend. We're going to stay on board with this battle here. But actually, you can already see kind of in the distance that there is a Porsche of, I believe that might be Tahacho, looming in the way to already start overtaking these GT
GTs.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, he's like running away with the lead. He's holding on well after the overtake of the spin, and he's already almost got a 3-second gap on everybody else. It's a wild push he has here.
Yeah, so I'm actually getting word from Lucas Nielsen here, who's in chat, and we'll get to that in a second. There's a good amount of argy-bargy there between the Ferraris, the GT3 Ferraris, and the Porsche. Looks like we might have a Ferrari battle here on our hands, but we're going to drop down to Mikhail Frokov as he's trying to chase down JZ Kuban in that Cadillac. He's going to try to send it around the outside. Is he going to get it? Oh, I mean, that BMW's got such good straight line speed. That was its big factor, especially when it came to Fuji, is that BMW. Oh, a little bit of a snap there. And he gets back in front of that number 311 Cadillac. And now he's going to make the run onto Sunset, or on the Ullman Straight. And getting back to Lucas real quick. And here's the direct quote from chat. I was going to have some bragging rights for this, but they put what's on my car for some reason when I had another medium set. So I was going to fix it. Then I was driving towards the pits, and then this qualification. We see something similar happen to Jonah. I think it was the season. I think it was round 1 of last season, which I think it was Bahrain last season, where we saw a similar thing happen to Formula Jonah. Just unfortunate to get a DSQ for something that's completely out of your control.
Yep. Sometimes we're gonna put this in air quotations because, you know, video game compared to real life. The team has some mess ups, all right.
Cue the Ferrari strategy memes.
The Ferrari strategy memes, exactly.
Speaking of a Ferrari, Leningrad is chasing down Antoine Ponce and the Ferrari, so this should be a fun battle.
And then it was the GT Ferraris that were battling before, and then it looks like Perez got away with it this time, and he's pulling away from the other Ferrari.
Yeah, that is the Ferrari of William Stickley. A lot of these drivers are currently about a lap down, but I mean, it doesn't really matter a lot if they're a lap down, because GTs are not going to... I mean, if there's a GT on pace with these hypercars, first off, color me super impressed, but...
That's one hell of a driver if that were the case.
Indeed, yeah. So, ooh, this battle's getting really close. I'll go ahead and let you take this battle away for a bit.
Oh, I can't see which the cars are. Oh no.
It is the number 93 Peugeot of Jerome Leningrad and Antoine Ponce in the number 51 Ferrari.
Yeah, we have Pavna? No, you said
Ponce.
Leningrad.
Oh, there we go.
Leninrad's pushing up onto Ponce of the Ferrari here, heading down the... Ooh, I gotta get my notes back up. I hate myself a little bit. Going down towards turn 1 and then turn 2. Hopefully he can get the distance down a little bit to be able to go into the overtake within the Bishop Bend, where we've seen a couple of the overtakes try to happen. And he's still not close enough for the... Maybe he'll be able to get him after Le Mans curve going down the Ullman Straight, which is where he might be trying to set up for in the first place. He's just got to be able to get his car a little bit closer to him. And here we go with the push down the Ullman Straight. Hopefully he can get the slipstream to be able to overtake him into the Sunset Bend. Nope, not quite. We have a really good defense from Ponce here. He went a little wide there, which gave the overtake which gave Lennard the overtake on him. Unfortunate that it was under pressure and he ran wide there. Oh
Indeed.
Man, this is a fight. This is a fight.
Indeed, both drivers are going it pedal to the metal right now. As Jerome Leningrad, who was a really solid driver last season in a Porsche, has proven that he is really good in this Peugeot as well. He is keeping that Ferrari behind. Made a good dive up the inside, but now he's going to have to play defense now. We're going to actually switch to the rear wing camera of a car that used to not have a rear wing. The initial Peugeot 9X8 hypercar had a pretty interesting concept of having most of your downforce coming from the ground effect floor, similar to like what modern Formula 1 has. But then some regulation changes happened and they adopted a rear wing. I mean, I still think we'll switch to that in a bit, but if you look at the Peugeot behind, I know it's really hard to see from this angle because you have a Ferrari in the way and it's also pretty far back. Alex Afonso is actually in a Peugeot that doesn't have the rear wing attached.
Really?
Yeah, so actually, we'll switch back to that for a quick moment so you can see. Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, there it is. Wow.
There's no damage on that car for anyone who might be new to the hypercars. That is just how the car was built. And now we're going to go back on board with the other Peugeot currently in P2. This is going to be a really solid result there from this Peugeot group. Although, once again, there's no points, but it'll set a really good precedent to what to expect for the season.
Leonard has a really strong push here on the straight. He got a lot of slipstream and speed from it. He kind of threw it away with the little swing out that he had there. I guess it was just a little uncomfortable with how close he was getting to Leonard's.
Yeah,
He
Ponset.
lost a lot of his space there. He lost a lot of confidence, yes sir.
Yeah, I mean, this track is also a really tricky one because, I mean, these bumps really do unsettle these cars quite a bit. Because, I mean, this used to be part of an old Air Force base. So that is another little bit of a fun fact about the track. Used to be part of an old Air Force base. And actually, this track has been around since 1952. Part of a former U.S. Army Air Base. It was part of the, I'm looking for the actual name. I have it somewhere here in my notes.
Ooh, Smolka and Perry are battling the BMWs and GT.
Indeed, yeah, we'll switch to that real quick while I continue to find my information. And it's the two BMWs now fighting for P1 and P2 here in the GT3 class. This battle is going to be really, really interesting to see. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, this is such an amazing race that we have here. I love this track. And just to think that we're only using half of this track. We're only using half of this track. There is a yellow flag. I'm not sure what that yellow flag is for, but it got cleared up pretty quickly. Another statistic I want to drop is that we have yet to have a full course caution or a safety car in the entirety of the series. And actually a bit of a battle now between Formula Jonah, but I think that is actually a lapped. Oh yeah, he's got the blue flag. He's going to let that Porsche pass. I thought he was going to try to defend there, but no, Formula Jonah unfortunately is now a lap down. Going to take a look at another battle actually. This is Marco Pavona. There we go. Marco Pavona now was trying to chase down Alex Afonso in that Peugeot, but I think he just got a little unsettled or maybe got stuck with Perez in that Ferrari GT3. I'm not sure, but it looks like he might be closing that gap a little bit. But actually, we're gonna go ahead and swing back down to the GT3s as we have a battle here for the lead. 0.7 of a second now, and there is a GT car behind, or a hypercar behind the overall race leader.
Chicho passing by everybody again.
Yeah, Tahacho. Yeah, Aslan Tahacho is now going to swing past everybody. He is going to go ahead and just get past these two GT cars. We're actually going to go ahead and take a quick little break, and we'll go do a onboard lap here with this BMW. Oh, never mind. Hold that thought for a little bit because we do have Jerome Lenorand going ahead and just slingshotting past the hypercars. And actually, this is good for his battle with Antoine Ponset. Not really a lot of good overtaking opportunities here. And yeah, we're actually going to just chill on board for the rest of this lap with actually we'll go on board with the aforementioned Alpine. We'll be back. Alright, that was our little V6 ASMR lap that we did here. We were on board with Formula Jonah. Now we're actually going to slingshot back to Marco Pavona. Now it looks like he's getting pretty close to the Peugeot up ahead. This is the battle for P4 at the moment between Marco Pavona and Alex Alfonso, the number 8 Toyota and the number 94 Peugeot respectively. And this is going to be a really solid battle. We know these Peugeots can battle. We know that they have that kind of pace. But, yeah, we're going to stay on board with this battle for a little bit. The battle for P1 in that GT3 category is still pretty strong. Actually, it looks like there could be a four-way fight there. Actually, we're going to slingshot to that.
I was going to say, there's a couple of them lined up there for the GT. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. There is a Cadillac hypercar behind them. Almost called it a Ferrari. And that Cadillac's just going to go ahead and just soar past through with that NASCAR V8 in the back of that machine. The Heart of Racing Aston is going to try to make up some positions, but hopefully he won't get too caught up in this scuffle. So far he's remaining pretty good, but now once again this battle is just mostly between the two front-running BMWs of Philip Smolka and Jack Perry. The number 46 BMW in the lead, defending from the number 31, trying to go ahead and get closer and closer. I mean, this has been a really close battle.
He's been fighting for this the whole race.
Indeed.
He's been on his tail the whole time.
Yeah, indeed. Really good pace there. I mean, we know Phil Smolka has some really solid pace in that BMW. And actually, I'll let you ride on board with Jack Perry, and I'll let you take it away.
All right, so we still have Jack Perry here trying to fight for the lead of the GTs against Smolka in the number 46 BMW. They're going down into turn one, and they're into Sunset Bend, heading down the main straight for the start-finish line. And it looks like Perry had a much better line on that turn. Oh, as we see the hypercar fly by them again. Into turn 1. We have Smolka is holding in within that line, and then we have the Porsche behind Smolka fighting for it as well. So any little mess up here he could even throw Perry out of the fight and then put how do I say that? Bonalium? Oh no, I'm sorry, I can't. He could be thrown up into the second fight for first as well. So it'd be interesting to see if they can hold that tight line. There's a lot of pressure here, so they're all going to be right on top of each other and trying to keep the pressure on.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be a really tight battle here in this GT field. I mean, this has been a really good battle here for the GTs. The hypercars have spread out quite a bit, so our biggest battles are going to be here in this GT category as we're down to 40 minutes left on track. We have eclipsed the first third of this race. Still got 40 minutes left to go, and we're going to see some pit stops probably around the last 15 minutes or so, I would kind of imagine.
Well, the number 4 of Porsche for the hypercars is in the pits now.
Oh, you are correct. That is Wilson. Dan Wilson, yeah, he is in the pits. Wonder what he's got going on. Unfortunately, that information isn't provided to us. Maybe he had some damage getting replaced, or maybe getting some fuel. Actually, speaking of fuel, let's go and check that out. Let's check how much energy is remaining. Go ahead and check that out. Alright, so it looks like Dan Wilson's back out on track. We won't see the energy yet. Although, unfortunately, it is only showing the energy for the hypercars, so we don't have that kind of information for our GT3s as we go ahead and take a look at our GT or hypercar field. Gonna go ahead and bring that up for real quick. Our class leaders here are Tahacho and Smolka. That is our current class leaders as we reach the 40-minute mark. So right now, Tahacho is in the lead of this hypercar field. He's got 47% battery inside of that Porsche. And actually now he's stuck in the traffic here, so he actually might get caught up enough to the point where oh no, he got through the traffic.
He got through the traffic. If anything, he made the GT's race even a little bit closer for them because of, them having to get out of his way.
Indeed, yeah. And also that does kind of back up Jerome Lenorand a bit too in that Peugeot. So that's going to be an interesting problem. He's going to go ahead and try to slingshot past, but Jerome Lenorand currently P2 in our hypercar division right now, followed by Antoine Poncet, Marco Pavona, Alex Afonso, Mikhail Frokov, Bradley Kennedy, Formula Jonah, Jacob JZ Caban, and Dan Wilson. And then taking a look at our GT3 field, we got Philip Smolka currently in the lead, still battling with his BMW teammate, Jack Perry, Michelle Bonalumi, Andre Ferreira, Nico Perez, and then William Stickley round out our GT3 field at the moment. We're going to go ahead and bring back all 16 cars on screen. 17 if you count the unfortunate and pretty bizarre disqualification of Lucas Nielsen in that BMW. When it comes time for the next round of Sebring, when we're on the full layout of Sebring, expect good things from Lucas Nielsen, because he made magic happen in a very tricky Glickenhaus, and I'm sure with how dominant the BMW was last season, he'll probably put up some really solid performances yet again. And actually, Marco did get past Alex Afonso here. Now Alex Afonso is going to try to retake. He is just going to burn through Sunset Bend, coming onto the start-finish straight. He's got a good slipstream there from the Toyota up ahead. Now, Toyota's had a pretty interesting season last time out, as the Toyota gets past the Ferrari, but unfortunately the Peugeot did not. Although, another element that I really like about this season is that there's a whole nother skill that gets unlocked when you have multi-class racing, and that is traffic and navigation. I mean, we're both from Orlando, so I know the traffic here gets pretty rough at times. Aloma is just nightmare fuel for anyone who has been in the Winter Park area and has had the misfortune of going through Aloma at any time of day. That's not like at the dead of night. Or worse, if you're at 5 p.m. rush hour traffic coming from Aloma, it's god-awful. I'm sure Brad can talk about it a bit.
Terrible. You're going down that road and you're stuck there. You would think you wouldn't be stuck there for long. No, you're stuck there for at least an hour just dealing with 3 lights of traffic. So yeah, it's very bad traffic. But I can see where you're going with this, because the GTs and the Hypers have to deal with, like, you know, cars that aren't up to par with their same vehicles, so they have to be able to navigate around them safely and to be able to continue their race and not ruin the other racers' race as well. So it's just a matter of keeping control of the car, pushing through, and hoping everyone else can see you and do the same.
Indeed, yeah. And I mean, some drivers are better at traffic maneuvering than others. I have seen a lot of times where someone's race win was actually thrown away because of a mismanagement.
What happened to the Porsche that was fighting? He must have pitted or something, because now Ashton's... No, he's above... I don't know when Ashton passed the Porsche, but now he's fighting for the second place position in the GTs.
Yeah,
he was
that
the
is
one in 4th, and he overtook the Porsche in 3rd.
Yeah, that is Andre Ferreira, former Alpine driver in hypercars last season. Now he is here racing in the heart of racing, Aston Martin, trying to get a move done. Is he going to actually make a move onto Jack Perry? No, he does not. But maybe he might. He has that inside line going through the Sunset Bend. But I think, yeah, Jack Perry just had a lot more momentum. But a bit of a slide opens up the door wide open. That door was blasted wide open, and it's going to be a battle going into turn 1 now. The BMW versus Aston Martin. This is going to be a fight. But now there's a lap GT car ahead of both of them. That's going to kind of complicate things a bit. Ooh. Oh, he's getting, Jack Perry's getting really close to William Stickley in that Ferrari. And the Ferrari just shoots up the inside. I'm not sure if he's getting blue flagged or not, but certainly he's got to understand that the cars behind him are cars that are trying to lap him and get past him. But, I mean, another thing to kind of piggyback on what you're talking about, you know, you're talking about cars that weren't, like, for the GTP cars, or the prototypes, that, there's going to be cars that you have to try to pass that aren't up to par, but sometimes it's your own class that you have to deal with. Sometimes you got to deal with your own fellow GT3 drivers, like what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I guess he did get the move done there on Perry, and now he's up in the second place for the GT. He's going to be pushing for Smoka. Hopefully he can hold on to the position against Perry. He did a hard fight to get up past both the Porsche and the BMW, so he must have had a really good line or a good push, but now he's being impeded. Oh, in a spin!
Oh
from
no!
the Ferrari.
Yeah, that was a... Oh, and a big spin here from Bonalumi!
Porsche!
Bonalumi has a big spin, and that's a massive collision with the barriers.
The wall.
And that's his race done.
There was another one that retired with him too, I think. Was there?
I'm looking. Oh no, actually, no. I think the other Ferrari that might have went off might have been Stickley, but Stickley is still in this race. But I think Bonalumi's done.
Oh man, what a fight from Bonalumi.
Although it's showing that the Manti Pure Racing Porsche is in the pits, but I think it'll soon turn it to a bright red DNF, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. That Ferrari also looks like it has seen some better days. That front end looks like it got to a few fender benders. But yeah, we're almost at the halfway point of this race. How's the race been for you so far?
It's been very fun, very aesthetic, way more pleasing to the eye to be able to commentate for it. Actually, it shows a whole different area of the race, like that you wouldn't think of when you try to commentate. Like, this is my first time commentating for anyone watching. I don't know much about this Le Mans Ultimate series that we're doing, but I can see how quickly you can catch on and learn, and like, how do I explain this? Really get yourself into the race, even though you're not the one racing, you know?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I know my first time competing or commentating for Le Mans Ultimate. It was my first time commentating for endurance racing in general up until that point. Because up until that point when I first started back in February of this year, at that point I have only commentated for Formula One and Gran Turismo. And even in Gran Turismo, I've only commentated for Super Formula cars up to that point. So joining in for endurance racing was different, but yeah, you pick up really quickly. I mean, these drivers make it really easy for us to do our jobs, especially because there's always some intense action going out on track.
Of course, and thankfully for everybody involved that was in an accident, like Bonalumi, who's most likely going to DNF, as you said, even though it hasn't showed it yet, and for Nielsen, and for even the Ferrari who was struggling and spinning of Wilson, I believe. This is the preseason race to get a feel for the cars and the track and to get the season going, so no points are on the line, and they're out there to just really push the limits of the car and see where they can be.
Indeed, yeah, and honestly, I think for the record, I think you've gotten acclimated pretty quickly. I think you're doing a pretty good job for your first time commentating.
Thank you. That means a lot, actually.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you on more often. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to bring you in more often. You'll get more experience as time goes on. I've been doing this for just about a year now. It's been a lot of fun. Well, not for this league in particular, but for commentating in general. You learn things as you go along. You start to develop your own style. But we are really glad to have you here in the commentary box.
Glad I can join you, and it means a lot. Thank you.
You are most certainly welcome. But now we got a battle here that's going to mean a lot for this race. This is actually a fight for P1 between Tahacho and Leninrad.
I didn't even know they were going to catch up to him. Leninrad pushing to get that P1 position. He wants it back.
Indeed, yeah, he wants that position back, but there's a Ferrari that's going to have some words with it. It is Nico Perez fighting with Jerome Leninrad. These two have been on track together before and fought a little bit, though. Granted, usually Leninrad was in a Porsche and Perez was in a Glickenhaus, which, as much as I love the Glickenhaus, is probably one of my favorite hypercars in the entirety of, well, the history of this car regulation cycle. It is not the most competitive car by any stretch. The Glickenhaus does have a few disadvantages compared to these other hypercars and compared to the Porsche that Leninrad was in last season. But, I mean, these two have had some decent battles on track before, although they weren't very long battles considering the types of cars. But Nico Perez, who was in chat earlier, now he has switched to the number 155 Ferrari, which we'll actually go on board with for just a smidge. He's got Philip Smoker right behind, but I think Smoker actually pitted in, so I think that is the reason why Smoker is now behind. But yeah, I think Perez is a quick driver. On his day, he made magic happen in that Glickenhaus alongside Lucas Nielsen. The two were teammates at one point, now driving in different categories. But he is a good driver. He's done some pretty cool stuff outside of LSR too. I think he competed in Daytona a few times, and it had some pretty decent results. So it's always good to see drivers that can do multiple things. And actually, we could stay on board with this because this looks like it's going to be a fun little battle here between Philip Smolka and Nico Perez, two drivers that were driving in boutique manufacturers in the last race of the season at Fuji in the hypercars. Philip's going to shake for a move. He's going to shake it. He's going to shake it like he's trying to shake up a soda. And he's going to try to get it maybe. No, but Perez just has that perfect line. Just like his F1 counterpart Sergio Perez, Nico Perez is being a Minister of Defense. But how long can he keep that position? We'll find out. Looks like Philip Smolka is going to try to send it around the outside. No, he doesn't have enough real estate.
I mean, we both know Smoke is going to be fighting to get back to that fight to the front because he was on Perry's tail the whole time, so he wants to go back to that fight. So anybody that's in his way is currently slowing him down, especially after his pit stop on, I'm assuming, fresh tires. He's ready to be pushing and he just can't because he's getting stuck behind the Ferrari of Perez here.
Yeah, Perez is doing a really good job here defending from that BMW. We know Philip Smolka's got some really good pace. Now these two, if a full season were to happen with Smolka in Van Wall and Perez back in the Glickenhaus, I think these two would have had a lot of really good on-track battles between the boutique manufacturers. But that is not the case this time around. They are actually rivals now in GT3. And there's a BMW just slingshotting past. That is Mikhail Frokov. Just going to throw himself past these two GT3s. He hasn't had the best of races here. Ever since that first lap 2 incident. As we swing back up to these front positions, it is going to be Alsan Tahacho is still trying to defend from Joseph Lenorand. I mean, it's been a pretty good job so far. And I believe this is Aslan's first race here in LSR. And what a race it would be to get a win on debut. Although, unfortunately, you don't get the points that come with that because it's the Prolouge, so no points on offer. But
it would still be great bragging rights.
Oh, 100%.
It would still be great bragging rights.
And, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how the season plays out. I know in the Discord chat, we were just chatting a bit beforehand in the race, and Mikhail Frokov said that this would not be a good track for the BMW. And apparently that's kind of coming to pass. Mikhail Frokov, ever since his incident earlier, he has just not been able to really catch back up to a lot of these drivers. So, I mean, but it is preseason. It's because he's not running the art car, that's why. Yep, 100%. It's because he's not running the art car that he dominated with last season. I'm kidding. The liveries don't have anything to do. But I did hear about custom liveries possibly coming to the game here soon. So that should be fun.
The custom livery? That would be really cool.
Alright, so I'm going to ask you this question while we're on this kind of topic. If you were to make a custom livery for any of the cars that are currently on track right now, which car would you choose and what livery would you want to put on it?
Oh boy. Oh boy. So, out of all the cars on track, I think the most visually appealing car, yes, these hypercars are beautiful and, you know, they're prototype cars and they're meant for speed and to go fast. Not 100% the beauty. That's the point of them. But I think I would have to go with the GT car, I think. And I think the GT car would either be between the Aston Martin or the Ferrari, because visually appealing, those are nice cars to me. That's personal opinion. Everybody's gonna disagree with me. It's okay. I would say most likely.
Oh no!
Taking out the hyper.
That is unfortunate there. Oh, what happened there? I
What
think
a
that,
great
yeah.
time to switch the cameras to that point too. And it was just because I was talking about the Ferrari and that unfortunate situation just had to happen.
You jinxed it. How dare you?
I jinxed it.
But anyways, yeah, that was a really unfortunate moment there from William Stickley, and I believe that was Bradley. Bradley Kennedy in that Proton Porsche. Yeah, I mean, yeah, both cars have definitely got some damage now, so I'm sure Bradley Kennedy is not pleased about that, to put it mildly.
Yeah, then there he goes passing by, like, give me the space, I'm gonna go now. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate timing. It was into the turn back into the main straight for the start finish line, and I guess they were just a little too close for comfort. Somebody went in a little too tight and clipped one another.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for and actually, you know what, Safi? I do want a fun stat. I think it'd be really fun, and I would love to. I am a nerd when it comes to fun stats, so bring on the fun stat. But yeah, so you're saying either the Ferrari or Aston Martin for your livery choice. What kind of livery would you put on it? Or would it just be something you'd create?
It would probably be something I create. It probably wouldn't be anything with like a livery that's already been made. I'm a person who just loves wolves, so I'd love to see some kind of cool wolf design on a car at some point for racing.
Alright, and also, if I didn't disconnect, I would be world champion, says Mark Santos in chat. Unfortunately we don't have a time machine, and we don't have the NASA grade server, so it would be unfortunate, but maybe this will be the season. Maybe this will be your season of redemption. And yeah, that's right, he disconnected at Le Mans. That is true. Yeah, that was really heartbreaking because Le Mans is double points. So for those of you who may be new to LSR here and how we run things, so just to go ahead and give you guys an idea of like how scoring works, this race there's no points at all. It's a preseason race. It's just meant for just to kind of practice, I guess, like a practice race before we actually get kicked off with the official season. But it's general for the regular 60-minute races. It is Formula 1 scoring, so 25 points for P1, and then it goes 18 to P2, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. But then for some of the later races and the races with a bigger time, or with more time available, the points differ. So a 90-minute race is worth points and a half. And what I mean by that is worth 1.5 times the amount of points you would normally get for an F1 race, and points go down all the way to P10 once again. You get 37.5 points for P1, 27 points for P2, 22.5 points for P3, and then it goes down from there all the way to a point and a half for P10. For the 100 minutes of Sebring, one of the two races that has a interesting point change, it seems it's just an extra point across the board, and then the points go down all the way to P1 or P11 where you get a singular point. And then the 2.4 hours of Le Mans is double points for P1 all the way down to P11. Get 50 points for a race win at Le Mans, and then you get 1 point for getting a P11.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just pointing out the fact that oh man, names, I'm so sorry.
Tahacho.
Number 6 Porsche, who was leading the hyper race. He was in P3 before he went into the pit, so I don't know if something happened, but he did lose the lead of the race to Leonard. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. But he did lose the lead. Went down to P3, then went into the pits. I'm guessing just for a quick tire change, or maybe I'm not sure.
Well, we're at this stage of the race now.
Stickley has a DNF.
Yep. Oh, that's unfortunate there for the Ferrari driver. But I mean, he had a lot of damage, and even though it's not official, but Bonalumi also is a DNF as well. And also, just to answer some more questions that people may have during this time period, yes, the GT3 cars and the hypercars are scored differently, but they use the same scale points. So the GT3 cars Although, granted, they'll be in their own championship. They will get the same amount of points as Hypercar for finishing, let's say, in like P1 in their class. Overalls aren't gonna matter a whole lot because obviously it's gonna be Hypercar domination at that point. If a GT car wins overall, it can happen. It's just extremely rare, and I don't think we're gonna see it this season. That is my not so bold prediction. Is that we are not going to see a GT3 car win overall unless there's some massive issues. But also another thing, unlike Formula 1, we do not hand out a lap or a point for our fastest lap. So that is the only other big difference between the Formula 1 scoring and the scoring that we have here.
Apparently this season, for the 2025 race season of Formula 1, they do not give a point for the fastest lap.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but I mean, after Singapore, I kind of understand. But anyways,
Yeah.
Dude, Endurance race on Singapore would actually be pretty fire, not gonna lie.
It would be a pretty cool race to watch.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pose this question in chat. As we see, a lot of these cars are pretty spread out, except for Smoka, actually. Smoka, no, that's not Smoka, that's Ferraria. Ferraria is actually wants to get really close now. Oh, this is a scene to watch. We'll get back to the question later. Those two are drafting. The two prototypes.
Ferrari has been fighting. The two prototypes are drafting, and then Ferrari have been fighting for the first place position for the GT now for a while after he overtook Monolumi, and even who was it that was there? Smoka, he was fighting, yeah.
Yeah, indeed, and also this is a battle. This is a battle, or was a battle. Now, we're at that point now. We're gonna see a lot of these cars start pitting in because usually, in this category, when it comes to a 60-minute race, you really see drivers start pitting in around the 20-minute mark to make their pit stop. It's typically what we see. A lot of these cars around the 20 to the 15-minute range. They always go ahead and start pitting in, going ahead and making their adjustments, doing whatever they need to do. And then they come back out on track. So I think Tahacho could retake this lead once everybody decides to go ahead and make their pit stops. I think it's just a matter of when versus a matter of if that's going to happen.
I mean, there was a couple pit stops that happened earlier on when we were talking and weren't paying too much attention to them pitting and paying more attention to the race. But there's still a majority of the field that does have to pit. Yeah,
there we go. This is the amount of stops we've seen everyone take. Looks like out of the hypercar category, we have... Actually, I'll let you take this one away.
Well, I was going to say what happened to number 35, Alpine Johan. He DNF'd.
Yeah, that is... Formula Jonah, yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Formula Jonah. He is out of this race, which is unfortunate there for the content creator. He is out in his debut with Alpine. And now it is down to 9 hypercars. And we have 4 GT cars left in this race. We have lost 4 cars now in total. We have lost Lucas Nielsen due to a bugged out DNF or disqualification, and then Michelle Bonalumi, who also had major contact and then got stuck with some weird tech issues from what I heard in Discord chat. William Stickley having a DNF, and then Formula Jonah also joining the DNF club. And then there were 14 cars left on track. Or no, sorry, 13.
Unfortunate start for them.
Yeah, so it's let's see. Now we're gonna actually switch back to let's see if positions gained or lost actually works on the UI. Nope, it still doesn't work. That is still an unfortunate issue from season 1. And just for anyone who is unaware, this is the overlay that Le Mans Ultimate actually provides to people on. I don't know, this game's PC exclusive at the moment, but. This is definitely a, it's an overlay that Le Mans Ultimate provides itself. So this is not, well, by technicality is an external overlay, but it is an overlay provided by Le Mans Ultimate themselves. So shout out to the devs for giving us a really good, and this is actually very similar to what we see in the actual World Endurance Championship. The only thing that I really want them to add for this track, or not for this track, but for the overlay is a track map, because that would be perfect to have.
That would be a really good one to have.
I mean, I can go ahead and go to like Photoshop and just do like a background remove of a track map, but that's not going to look the same.
It's not going to look the same, and you're not going to have the trackers of the cars on track, which is okay. I mean, having the overlay of the track on screen is always a nice thing to have for anyone to know where what the cars are dealing with,
Yeah.
what the drivers are doing.
So, I'm gonna actually ask you the question I was gonna ask earlier before that massive incident happened earlier on with the GT car and the hypercar, having that little bit of a collision between I believe it was Stickley and Kennedy. So, I know Qatar is coming in at some point, I think in May. The Losail International Circuit used for the Qatar 1812 kilometer race and also the Qatar F1 Grand Prix. Also a race in MotoGP as well. So that track is coming in at some point in May alongside the Aston Martin Valkyrie. So those are two new additions coming in very soon. But if you were to add a track to Le Mans Ultimate, or a track that you like to see an endurance race on in general, what track would it be? Go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I'll go ahead and ask you, Brad. What track would you like?
That's a great question. Let's see here. Let me look back at my track knowledge here, and I only know Formula 1 tracks pretty decently well, but I think it'd be kind of fun to find a I don't know, give me a minute. I'll come back to you on this one.
Alright, I'll go and drop mine in while we wait. I know they use it in ELMS, or the European Le Mans Series, and actually I think they're racing there today, I think. But Barcelona would be a fun one. I mean, I could go through a massive list. I mean, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, it's a track that absolutely shreds tires, but it's a fun track. I like it. Another like F1 track I would like to see. I mean, I could throw the meme in there and just say Monaco. You know, I know that would be awful. If you thought the F1 cars are big and have a hard time going through Monaco, these cars are probably...
These cars would never... These cars would... That's why I was bringing up the hairpin of where the Formula 1 cars are struggle. You're gonna put a GT or a hypercar in there, forget it, man.
Well, they do race a Porsche Carrera Cup or Porsche Super Cup at Monaco, and it's actually not bad racing. But the hypercars would definitely be on the struggle bus with VIP seating on Monaco, trying to go through the hairpin. But I mean, Singapore I brought up earlier would be really fun. Another track that it's a track I've done quite a bit recently. And I know this isn't it's not a well-known track, but hang on, I have it in my track notes here somewhere. I have like a bunch of like different track notes and stuff that I keep just from the different tracks I've commentated, but okay, hear me out. Actually, I know I said this track isn't popular, but I lied. It's Laguna Seca. I think just seeing these hypercars go down the corkscrew would just be so much fun.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, obviously there's other American tracks I could throw. If I'm talking about specifically like Formula 1, like the Vegas one would be really cool.
See, that would be really good for these cars, though, because Formula 1 cars, especially on the main straight, they reach their max speed and they're just kind of like chilling there, and then they're stuck there, and the only thing that's helping them is either their energy or slipstream or DRS if you have it. With these cars, I feel like there's so much differences in the vehicles that it provides more entertainment, especially on that back straight. So I agree. I think they would look good on that track.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's so many tracks that like you can use. I mean, the Silesia Ring in Poland would be an interesting one, although it's a pretty small track, so you probably wouldn't really get. It'd probably be better suited just for like a GT car race. Kyalami, there we go. That was the one I was trying to remember. Kyalami in South Africa. I mean, they do GT World Challenge there, and it's a really fun track. Funny enough, I have the track notes right behind my Sebring school layout track notes. It's a 2.85 mile long circuit. A lot of fun track. That track actually means my home or our home in Zulu. So that is an interesting thing about the track, and this interesting battle here on our current track here at Sebring between Andre Ferreira and Jack Perry. This is the battle for the lead in the GT category. This is going to be a spicy one, folks. Let's actually take a look at the 1v1 battle between these two. And yeah, the best lap time is actually a 7-second difference. Oh wait, hang on. That explains it, because that was showing a hypercar.
I was about to say, that's the hyper.
There we go. That's more representative. Yeah, here we go. And yeah, that gap is only 0.7 of a second. Yeah, it took me a bit too long to realize that it was actually hypercar performance. So that confusion got saved. But now, actually, it looks like Ferrari is pulling away quite consistently in Aston Martin.
Aston Martin must have had a slip up back there that we didn't see on screen for him to be pulling away like that. But now it looks like he does have to worry about. Or am I losing my mind here? Hold on, let me look at the timing sheets. Never mind, because Smoka's 41 seconds or Perry. Yeah, Smoka's 41 seconds behind Perry. Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't even realize that Ferrari was the one that was leading the GTs. Oh my goodness.
Oh, but they both called it into the pit, so now we're starting to see the rest of the pit stops here. We're on board now with the battle between Jacob Jay-Z Kuban and Bradley Kennedy now. This is the battle for P7. The Cadillac is going to try swinging around the outside. Oh, he's going to make the switchback work. Bradley locks up the brakes. He's got to go wide, and Jacob gets the move done and dusted, but it's not done just yet.
Going for the switchback.
Going for the switchback here. Going into turn number 1 here. And Bradley Kennedy with just an extra bit of speed. And I think he's got better aerodynamics as well, because that Cadillac still looks damaged in the front. Not sure that's a visual bug. Oh, he's going to send it up the inside. What ambition here from this Cadillac we are currently on board with. I mean, what ambitious maneuver there from the number 311 Cadillac. Jacob is trying to get closer and closer to Bradley Kennedy there in the number 99 Proton Porsche. Let's see if he can make anything happen here. There is 6.5 minutes left to go on this track, and actually we're going to slingshot up a bit, because it looks like Marco Pavona is catching up to Mikhail Frokov here. Championship winner from last season, Mikhail Frokov. He is under a bit of pressure now from the Italian driver. The Danish driver is under a pretty considerable amount of pressure now, but now there's a GT car ahead. The GT3 Sebring lets him through, but actually blocks off that Toyota. I think that was just the nature of turns 4, 5, and 6. I think that was just that, unfortunately, holding up what could have been a potential battle for P4 with Marco. And now we're going to swing on back to the battle for P7, still going very intense here, between Jacob Kuban and Bradley Kennedy.
These two are holding on to that fight. They want it, and it's so nice to see the racers still have that energy to keep pushing even here towards the end of the race.
Ooh, that's a dive! That's a dive bomb and a half.
He definitely gave him a scrape by, like, oh, I'm going to hold on to this position, man.
He licked the stamp and sent it. Sent it like
and
a risky...
back again with a heavy send.
These drivers are sending it like risky texts to their crushes right now. This is intense racing here, and this is not even for the lead. This is just for P7.
He's off track.
They're off track. There's that almost ended in disaster again. I know it's going to take a lot for these drivers to kind of adjust to having these GT3 cars competing alongside them, which wasn't the thing last season like we talked about earlier. But man, that is getting dicey. Dicey stuff here in the closing stages of this race.
They're definitely pushing the limits of the cars, especially fighting in the turns how they are, which is the reason why it was the number 311 car, right?
Yep, the Cadillac.
Behind him. The Cadillac, he pushed so hard that he threw himself off the track, even though he was in more of the clear space compared to Kennedy, who was stuck with the GT car. He must have locked up his brakes because of how hard he was pushing and sent himself into the off track. So that was they're definitely wanting to hold that position from each other. They're both very similar in skill, and it's very visible here. The double switchbacks that we keep seeing has been so entertaining.
Indeed. Oh, there's a GT car off track. That is Nico Perez, one of the 3 remaining GT cars, as Andre Ferreira in the Aston Martin has also DNF'd, as I just saw on our timing screens. Unfortunate there. Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing is that I never notice when these GT cars usually DNF. And there's a send from the Cadillac. He's putting on every cylinder. He is screaming America. He doesn't know what a kilometer is, but he does know what an overtake is. That Cadillac is now up into another position. But Bradley Kennedy is going to try to send it up the inside. Wow, once again, these drivers are just going full send.
For another switchback. Let's hope they can keep it clean here into the turn. Don't need another off-track incident.
And that's such a hard corner too. Turn 2 on the school circuit is just, it's a wicked corner. And I mean, you got to brake at the perfect time. It's one of the few corners you could get away with braking early on.
These two are going to be fighting to the line. For sure.
Yeah, because there's only going to be about like 3 laps left because of how short this track is. Yeah, there's going to be 3 laps left in this race. These front running, or for actually all these GT cars probably. 2 laps left to go for our GT cars. Right, and actually I think we can almost... Well, actually, no, we're not at that point with the GT cars yet, but we could almost split it real quick, and we're going to split it just for a bit. As we're on board, once again, this battle is getting super intense now between these cars. And we're looking at our top 5 in each category, which neither of these drivers are currently on, but they are fighting for every position now. There's not even points on the line, and these 2 drivers are just going at it, man.
Well, points on the line or not, you gotta put your skill out there, and you gotta prove that you're the better driver compared to everybody else, so that you can move on and push on.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, this has been really good racing here from Jacob and Bradley. And Jacob is actually making his debut this season as well, and he's putting on a mighty fine show here at Lightning Speed Racing here for Season 2 of Le Mans Ultimate here. We're down to the last minute 20, and actually, our leader is this man right here. Somebody we haven't really talked about a lot. It's Antoine Poncet. How much energy does he have left, though? That is going to be the question. He's got 6%.
Oh, he's got 6%. And then
he hasn't pit yet.
No.
Yeah, hang on.
Well,
let me check that.
I mean, Cho pitted. Yeah, they've all pitted. Okay.
Oh, they've all pitted.
Some of them just didn't focus on energy recuperation, so they're worried about their tires and pushing to the end. I mean, they've only got 40 seconds left. They might just have enough to push through. Cho is pushing it. He's at what, 4% energy? That's insane.
Yeah, but I mean, this track is pretty short. We're gonna have 1 more lap to go now with these drivers. It's gonna be really close now as we pull up our full timing table. Yet once again, it is now down to 20 seconds left on track, and it's a driver we haven't talked about a lot this race. Antoine Poncet looking to take the 2nd win for Ferrari that they've had in the entirety of LSR. They haven't had a win since the opening round of the season in Bahrain in Season 1.
Oh, Smoka just overtook Perry for the lead of the GT.
Oh, this lead for the GTs is still going strong here. This is actually going to be the last lap for them. We'll stick on board. The 2 BMWs, 2 out of the 3 remaining cars now are fighting to the end. And your winner of the GT category is this man right there. Philip Smolka will take victory here in the GT category. He wins it here for BMW. And then it looks like it's only going to be a few more corners now before Antoine Poncet becomes a race winner here at Lightning Speed Racing. He's only got the sunset bend to navigate. He had such a big gap to Tahacho behind. And Antoine Poncet is going to be a race winner here in Sebring. And that was a very well-driven race there from the Frenchman in the Ferrari. He takes victory here. So our winners today are overall and in the hypercar category. We have Antoine Poncet and then Philip Smolka in the BMW. Well-driven from these drivers, and man, what a race.
Man, Smoka coming up there at the end, taking the lead from Perry like that at the end there. I barely saw the switch happen on the timetable as you were speaking about the hypercar winner Ponset. It was I was so happy to see that because I was like, this man has been fighting the whole time, and if Perry was the one that steal it from him, I feel like he would have just been that much more eager to push on and keep going. And now that he holds it, I mean, maybe he'll just hold that rivalry with Perry, or with Perry.
Yeah, that is
Have his little inspiration to push.
Yeah, that is very well possible. So let's go ahead and run down the hypercar finishing positions. So in the hypercar category, Antoine Ponset takes race victory, followed by Aswan Tahacho, debutant, and he'll get on the podium on his first time out. Good for him. Jerome Linderad in that Peugeot will get a podium, the first podium for Peugeot, at least of the season. And then Mikhail Frokov, championship winner from last season, is in P4, followed by another newcomer in Marco Pavona, followed by Alex Afonso, Jacob Caban, Bradley Kennedy, Dan Wilson, and then Formula Jonah and Lucas Nielsen are DNF and DSQ for the hypercar category. Now take a good look at our LMGT3s. We have, actually on mine it says Jack Perry actually won that.
It says Jack Perry. I don't know what happened there, but yeah.
Maybe.
Did we call the end of the race a lap short for them? I feel like that happened.
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll go ahead and check that out. Let me actually close my control panel.
Is Perry in the chat celebrating Perry? Good win.
I guess he did get a win. Yeah, I guess he did get a win there. Interesting stuff, but yeah, we'll go back through. The server did close, so we're done and dusted. So do you have any final thoughts here for today's race?
I do not. It was a great race. Well, okay, I say I do not, then I go on to an explanation. I had a great time here. It was an awesome time being for my first commentating, especially being able to join you. It was a great pleasure, and it was very fun watching all of you racers in the. I let Haroon through so we can drive formation. Oh. See, that's what happened with Perry. Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you're not. I know you don't know because you're still learning everybody's names. But Haroon is Philip Smolka, and he actually did commentate here. Actually, last time we were at Sebring, and then also when we were at the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, it was Philip joining me in the commentary box. It was a great time. But yeah, it was a great race all around. I agree, and we're glad to have you here on the commentary, Brad. It was a good experience for both of us. Hopefully, we'll see you again when we come to the 100 minutes of Sebring. I won't be here. I will be away. But I'm not sure who will be taking over. We'll find that out sooner rather than later. But we'll hope you'll join us for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
All right. All right, everybody. That is a wrap here from us at the commentary box here at Lightning Speed Racing. The prologue was a spicy one, and I think it was a really good precursor to what is to come. We'll be back every single Saturday, although we may have a break in between. The breaks aren't announced yet, but for the most part, every single Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be here. My name is Patrick Coleman, a.k.a. Rekis, and alongside me was Brad, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.